Today's show is brought to you by the Hippocratic Collective. Check out our other shows and content at hippocratic-collective.com. Alrighty. Cheers. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being here on Surgeon Interrupted, Lauren.
We're here in sunny California.
We're here in Napa, coming to you live from Napa. We are so excited to be here today. We're coming to you live from the hot tub.
It's a several-year reunion.
Yes, seriously.
When did we see each other last?
Almost a year ago.
You came to KC.
Yep. I was in Kansas City last August, so it has been almost a year since we last saw each other. It is such a pleasure to have you here on Surgeon Interrupted today. We're coming to you live from Napa, California, from the hot tub. And what's crazy is we've known each other for 8 years now, Lauren. Like, we met 8 years ago. I've known you almost as long as I've known my husband.
You remember us meeting better than I do.
I do. And what's so funny about us meeting, so quick recap for everyone, we met at the resident graduation party because I was an intern coming in as a PGY1, and Lauren at that time was becoming a PGY3. And she looked beautiful. She was charming. She was rizzing the people up, as she does. Like, absolutely. I thought, like, oh, this is a really fun, magnetic, bubbly person. But I did clock that you appeared to be in the process of blacking out, and then by the end of the evening, blacking out.
I would say residency graduation was a good night to escape the craziness of residency, the trauma. It was kind of a surreal night because you drank and had fun with the people that you worked with every day. Some of them you liked, some of them you didn't. So it was an interesting dynamic every year.
Residency graduation had these extreme, like, Vegas vibes. It was just whatever happens at residency graduation stays at residency graduation, and, like, it would not come up the rest of the year. But in hindsight, I think that the fact that every single female resident in the program was trashed and carried out, firemen's carried out of the bar by their husband, I think that probably should have clued me in more to what was coming down the pipe for me. It didn't. I just was like, wow, fun. These people know how to party. But I wasn't like, is something wrong here?
You're like, why are they drinking to excess on the night that they have off?
Yeah, I just was like, okay, kind of a vibe. Like, all right, we're in, like, moonshine country. I was like, okay. But yeah, obviously, by even 1 year from then, like when I was a PGY1, that's the year that I won the Resident of the Year award. I do not remember accepting the award. I have the award, so I know that I won it, or I stole it from, like, the resident who won it, but, like, no recollection of that evening.
Why do you think you won it that year?
Because I got the most points. I was churning out conferences, research publications, op-eds.
Did you win it again?
No.
Why not?
I was not a very good resident after that time. I was not, like, churning out the point system and just, like, trying to get as many accolades as possible. I was trying to stay alive the rest of residency.
I also won at my PGY2 year. Yeah, I think they have to pick a girl every now and then.
Yeah, throw them off their rhythm.
The DEI.
So, the first thing I want to go over today, just to start on a sentimental note and get it out of the way, because I feel like... Oh, actually, sorry. Before the sentimental part, I'm going to say, we are playing a drinking game this evening. The drinking game is the following. Anytime somebody says the word residency, take a drink. So, we both just said it quite a bit, and I'll go ahead and take my retroactive drink here. Our producers this evening will keep us honest. Let us know if you hear a residency and we don't catch it. Alrighty. We are going to start and get out of the way the sentimental part of today's recording, because we're both not super sentimental people, but I think it's really important. I wanted to start off by just saying, like, what we are really proud of the other person for, and I'll go first. So I have always had so much respect for you, like ever since we worked together back in residency. Shit. All right. Okay. I do think that it says a lot. Like, anytime somebody can hear from a person who, like, used to work for you, like, that says a lot about somebody's character. Like, I worked as your junior resident for you for multiple years. And so, speaking from that standpoint, you were always tough. You always had extremely high standards. But I appreciated a lot that you were always fair. And I really do. I think that you never expected somebody else to do something that you would not do. I never felt that way. You know, we spent months alone on the head and neck service as like a 4 and a 2. And I think that that's one of the more intimate relationships for two residents to have.
Yeah, one of the tougher, I would say that was one of the pressure cookers. You talk about pressure cooking during residency. We'll drink here, but
No.
that head and neck in our program was one of the toughest sub rotations that we did.
No, absolutely. You're just in the trenches with that person. You have to trust them. And again, like, I do feel like you just set expectations very clearly, and then you held both of us to those standards. And that's extremely reasonable. That's necessary to keep, like, the super sick head and neckers alive. Not only that, but the other thing that I have to say that I always remember from back then is that you were never cruel. And here's what I mean by that. You know, I love self-deprecating humor. Like, I employ that a lot. I think that I really like that style of humor. In the hospital, and especially in a surgical residency, there's a lot of just, like, pot shots at people and just, like, hitting below the belt, making fun of other people, kicking dogs when they're down. That's, like, really what a lot of training felt like for me. And I've never seen you participate in that kind of behavior or, like, perpetuate those types of things in the hospital. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, I'm proud to work with you and be friends with you all these years later. Like, you were just a really good boss.
I think it's kind of weird because, you know, in previous interviews, you've talked about how you forget parts of training. And I really feel like a lot of residency I don't have a distinct memory of. I think you get so ingrained to just work your ass off, show up before everybody every morning.
Yeah.
You just hustle all day. You don't even have time to hardly go to the bathroom. And then you leave later than anybody. And so a lot of the stuff that you talk about with, like, these shots at other people, I don't even think in the moment I realized it. I think it's now retroact. Like, I feel like I understood the really crude ones that were, like, obviously blatantly wrong. But all of this, like, middle ground, the ones that were, like, 100% wrong, the ones that were, like, 90 to 60% wrong, I just had no capacity to, like, even recognize them if they were directed at me or somebody else. And I feel like it's a hard time during your life. And so I feel like perhaps it's a good thing I didn't recognize all of that. I don't know.
I think it's very self-protective. And I do. Like, yeah, I think that you were always very stoic and, like, that is a superpower in residency. The people who, like, were pretty unaffected by that type of stuff going on around them, I think that they did very well. And I just will say, like, I am a highly sensitive person. And so I'm not sure that there was anything said to somebody else in front of me or to me that I did not clock. And that is, like you said, like, I didn't have extra bandwidth to, like, receive all of those types of comments. So I think that that hindered my learning experience and certainly, you know, the bandwidth that I had.
Yeah. I mean, I think one thing that I admire about you is that you've always been true to yourself. You've never tried to hide who you are, what your beliefs are, what you stand for, what you don't stand for. You have always been true to, like, your core being. And I think that's really hard, especially in situations that are tough. Because it's easy to succumb to those who have more power than you and just to say to yourself, like, well, maybe I'm being super sensitive. Maybe I just need to, like, bend over and take it. But at the end of the day, it's important for me, you, everyone to stand up for what we believe in, be directive in what we will tolerate, what we won't tolerate, because at the end of the day, that's how people will treat you, you know? And I think that the others, that's probably the biggest thing. The others, I mean, you're extremely hard worker. You're incredibly intelligent. Your emotional intelligence is off the chart. I could come to you with any like question. You'd be like, oh my God, I have this quote that like applies incredibly applicably to this particular scenario. And I don't know. You're also incredibly fun. You know, like your wedding will go down in the memory books in my memory because it was so much fun. And yeah, so you're a very well-rounded individual.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. You're going to make me cry. We're going to have fun here. I am positive that one of us has said residency and we forgot to drink. So we'll cheers to that and cheers to the sentimental part. Not every day that you get to enjoy the fruits of like a long friendship with someone. And I think I value that more every single year that I get older.
Cheers to that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we're going to play a couple games here from beautiful, beautiful Napa. Alrighty. The first one is called Shit Surgeons Say. And the point of the game is we just are going to have you hear some different quotes from me. I am like a quote machine, and I have several quotes here. And the question is, were they said by a famous villain or a surgeon?
Okay.
All right, and, it's up to you. You think that's bad? I've intubated a guy with a toothbrush.
That's a surgeon.
All right, that's surgeon. That's correct. I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve.
Surgeon.
That is a villain. That is, guys, that is the Joker from The Dark Knight. The Joker, one of the most famous villains of all time.
I can picture one of our old attendings saying that exact quote.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They may have said something pretty similar to that, but that one is the Joker. There is no good or evil, only power, and those too weak to seek it.
Villain.
That's Voldemort.
Okay.
Yeah, another, epic film villain. I don't yell. I just raise my voice in a way that inspires competence.
Surgeon.
Yeah, that's a dead giveaway. That's a surgeon. Alrighty. Do not mistake composure for kindness. I can end you.
Villain.
Cersei Lannister, Game of Thrones. Okay, you're pretty good at this. You know what surgeons would say.
Gotten one wrong.
That's pretty good. I feel like all of these are believably a surgeon somewhere has said this. Okay. Our next segment, we're going to talk about who's more likely to. Have you seen the Who's More Likely To game? We just point. I'll just read a prompt, and then it's just one of us is more likely to. Okay. We have a good list here. Who's more likely to date a male surgeon?
Frances May.
Me. Have a closet full of clothes and still say, I have nothing to wear?
Frances
Lauren.
May.
Launch a skincare line?
Lauren.
Write a tell-all? Frances May. Post a thirst trap?
Frances May.
Command a room at a conference full of male surgeons?
Lauren.
Go viral? Lauren.
Okay, Lauren. That's a compliment.
Yeah, these are all compliments, I think. Oh, give a keynote? Lauren.
See, I don't know when you're going to finish the sentence. I'm like, are you done with it?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're short. Okay, I'll say it again. Give a keynote? Lauren.
Me.
Okay, I'm pumped to see your keynote in a few weeks. Shout out to Lauren. Stalk an ex on social media?
Frances May.
Get a tattoo on a dare?
Frances May.
No, Lauren.
Do you have a tattoo?
No, do you?
No.
Oh, shit. We're both pretty unlikely to get a tattoo on a dare then. I'm willing to call that a tie. Accidentally join a cult? Frances May. Send a drunk text. Lauren.
Both of us.
We are both prone to sending drunk texts. And cry in public. Frances May.
Yeah, both of us, I
Equal.
would say.
Yeah. Tie. A lot of ties. No problem. Okay, well, it's been so fun to stream to you guys live from the hot tub. In closing, I would just love to kind of wrap up by talking about where we're going next. Because, like, again, it's been a long road. It's been a lot of, like, female surgeon rage. But I'm so excited for the next chapter, which I think is something totally new for me, which is female surgeon joy.
I want to ask you a question. What you asked what we were most proud of each other for. What are you most proud of for yourself at this point? Because you've done a lot in the last 12 months.
Oh, shit. I am most proud of myself for giving myself permission to really pursue my dreams and just, like, go after what I actually want in life, not just take the road that's much easier, that's, like, paved out for me.
Yeah, I love that.
What about you? What are you most proud of for yourself, given the past year? And, like, you're doing a lot.
This was not a flippy flop question. We'll save that for tomorrow.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, and so share with us really quick before we sign off here. Of course, your show, FemMD, just came out. We're very excited about where it's going. Can you share with us some of your vision for, like, what the next 12 months look like in terms of Lauren Umstattd, Face Lee Wood, FemMD?
I think there's a lot of hard topics for any woman, whether you're, married, have children, or running a business, or doing something really challenging. And I think a lot of times we feel alone in the silo. And I think it's important to talk about, these messy topics, whether, failure or trips and falls and challenges or divorce or being an imperfect mother, being an imperfect surgeon. And so I think it's important just to talk about that. It's not about solving problems or fixing the world. It's about building a community for those of us who are imperfect, which unfortunately includes every human out there.
I love that so much. And absolutely, like, there have been imperfect women long before us, and there will be long after us. I appreciate that we are people who are willing to talk about it now, because, like, whether or not any of us talk about it, like, as you said, we're all imperfect.
Yeah, you have these feelings of inadequacy, and I think that the sense of community is so important. So if we talk about it, you feel like you're not alone, and you realize that these are just normal human struggles and it's not unique to you, and that just every day is a new challenge, which is good and bad all at the same time.
It's good and bad, but it's life. Like, I haven't figured out any way to avoid any of it, so it's like we might as well embrace it.
Cheers to that.
Cheers. Clink. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Surgeon Interrupted. If you enjoyed this episode, please share, like, and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Until next week, keep embracing the journey of life. That's so fucking lame. Okay.
Yeah, that's not you.
That's how Jay Shetty signs off. Until next time, consider playing this residency drinking game with all your friends. That's good enough. This feels so good now. This is like a genuinely nice hot tub.
This is very warm.
This is a vibe.
Doubled in temperature. Do you think that truck works?
Are you trying to get in that truck?
No, I'm just curious.